We've all been there, right? Someone asks what you do for work and you kinda just say your job title. But what if you could tell a really good story about it? Well, in this explainer, we're gonna break down exactly how to talk about your job in English, from what you do today to what you dream of doing tomorrow.
Yes. The classic question. It's the ultimate icebreaker, isn't it? It's probably one of the first things people ask when they meet you. So let's make sure you've got a fantastic answer ready to go. We're going to start with the absolute basics.
Okay, first things first. We're going to cover the essentials. How to clearly and simply say what you do right now. This is going to be the foundation for everything else we talk about.
So you've got a few really solid options here, and they each have a slightly different flavor. I'm a teacher is super direct, probably the most common way to say it. I work as a designer puts a little more focus on your actual role. And, if your company is a big deal or helps explain what you do, saying I work for a marketing agency is perfect. Any of these will get the job done.
But hold on. What if you don't work for a company? What if you work for yourself? Well, in that case, the term you're looking for is self-employed. It's a really simple, clear way to get that idea across.
And if somebody asks you to explain what self-employed means, this is just a fantastic, really natural way to put it, saying I am my own boss. It's not just a description, right? It immediately tells people you've got independence and control, and everyone gets that right away.
Okay, so you've dropped your job title. The next logical question is, what do you actually do all day? So let's move past the title and dig into the details of your tasks.
This is where you really bring your job to life. Using these kinds of active phrases makes your role sound so much more engaging. So instead of just saying, I'm a teacher, you can say, I'm responsible for planning the classes, or I manage our social media. See how that paints a much clearer, more interesting picture of your day-to-day?
All right, we've got the individual tasks down. Now let's kind of zoom out. We're going to build on that by putting it all together into the story of a typical workday. This is what helps people really get a feel for your professional life.
You can basically tell a mini story. Start with your hours, then talk about your main morning tasks. And hey, don't forget about breaks. That adds a really nice human touch. And finally, mention where you work. Whether you're in an office, working from home, or doing a hybrid thing, this simple 4-step structure gives a complete and really relatable snapshot.
So, we've covered the what and the how. But what about the feeling of it all? Let's dive into how you can talk about how you actually feel about your job. Look, being honest about your work means talking about both the good stuff and, well, the not so good stuff. You can highlight what you love, like saying it's creative or the people are nice. And for the parts that are a bit of a grind, being specific, like saying grading papers or the technical side of things, just makes your experience sound way more authentic.
Here is a perfect example of how to show a balanced view. It acknowledges the challenge. Yeah, it's stressful, but it also highlights a huge positive, like the team you work with. This comes across as super realistic and professional, because let's face it, not every job is perfect. So, what if you're kind of ready to move on from your job? This is the golden phrase. Saying, I'm looking for a new opportunity is so polite, so professional. It clearly signals you're ready for something new, but it does it without being negative about where you are right now. All right, let's pull the camera back even further. We've talked about your current job in a ton of detail. Now it's time to connect all the dots and tell your complete career story, your past, your present, and your future. Thinking about your career like a timeline is such a great way to structure the story. You start with the past, maybe mention something important you learned, then you connect it to where you are now, and then you share your vision for the future. It turns a simple list of jobs into a really compelling story of growth and ambition.
And this is the big one. Your dream job is all about that ultimate goal. Maybe it's traveling the world. Maybe it's starting your own business. Maybe it's creating something that inspires millions of people. It's the real why that drives your entire career journey. Okay, we have spent a lot of time talking about you, but a great conversation is a two-way street, right? So let's flip the script. How do you ask someone else about their job and get them to open up?
Think of this as your conversation toolkit. After you ask the classic, what do you do? You can show you're really listening with follow-ups like, do you like it? Or, and this one is gold, what's the most interesting part of your job? Questions like these open the door to a much more real, much more engaging conversation.
And there we have it, the whole shebang. We've gone from a simple 3-word question all the way to your daily routine, your feelings, and even your entire career path. You now have all the tools you need to tell your professional story with total confidence.
So I'll just leave you with this final thought. We've gone through all the phrases and all the structures. Now it's your turn to think about your own story and where you want it to go. So, really, what's that ultimate goal you're working towards?